all the bolts in the head just hand tight, and now I'm going to start torquing them. The factory manual says to torque them to 33 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees. It doesn't say anything about working up to the torque, but it's really not that good of an idea to just start at torque. So I wouldn't want to go through and bring each bolt up to 33 foot-pounds. I want to do it kind of gradually. So what I've done is I've set a torque wrench at what did I set it at? 140 inch-pounds, which is just under 12 foot-pounds. 144 inch-pounds would be 12 foot-pounds. But so I'm going to start with that. And on this head, the tightening sequence is a spiral shape, which seems to be pretty common, and I certainly like it. It's pretty easy to follow. So you start with the number 1 bolt, then you go to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so you can see that it just kind of spirals outward. And the idea is you want to start in the middle and spread the head out. You don't want to start at an end and work it across, just because it's not as accurate. It wouldn't be as accurate that way. And you might end up with some problems later on. But anyway, here's the first one. Let's see if I can actually do it one-handed. So I'm using a clicker type torque wrench, which is probably the most common to use. But anyway, so okay, that's the first one, and then the second one. Okay. Ooh, that one wasn't on very tight at all. But that's okay. That's why we're doing it now and not later. So with a clicker type torque wrench, you want to be real smooth. You don't want to grab it and jerk it, because the quick movement will make the reading inaccurate. What happens is the inertia of the handle actually sitting still creates more force on the spring inside the torque wrench, and so you actually end up with a lighter torque reading. In other words, if you had it set for 20 inch-pounds or 20 foot-pounds, you might end up with only 18 foot-pounds. Or it could be even more than that, depending on how high you've got it set. So your degree of difference could be a lot more. And it could also be a lot less. But anyway, so there's the fourth one. And again, I'm just bringing it up to a little bit of the torque necessary. Okay. And you just want to go nice and easy and gradual. Alright. You can see I'm still following the spiral. Okay, that one was kind of... I'm using a 1/4 inch drive torque wrench, which is quite nice to have one that's that small. for those bolts that don't require a lot. In fact, I was using it on my spark plugs, which they literally only require 11 foot-pounds or 132 inch-pounds, and there's not many torque wrenches that'll do that unless they're a really small torque wrench. Alright, so that's the first step. Let me get set up for the next one, and I'll show you that one. Alright, so I've bumped up to a little bit bigger torque wrench. I'm now using a 3/8 drive, and I'm going to the final torque with the torque wrench, which is 33 foot-pounds. My torque wrench reads in inch-pounds, and so I couldn't quite get it set to the full or the exact torque. I'm 1 inch-pound off, as if that really matters much. But so I've got it set at 395 inch-pounds, and it is supposed to be 396 inch-pounds. Like I said, it was rated, or the factory manual says or labels it in foot-pounds. Inch-pounds and foot-pounds are very easy to go back and forth between the two. So here it is. Again, starting with the number 1 bolt. Something doesn't quite feel right about this. Okay, there we go. There's the number 1 bolt. Number 2. Let's see, where was I going with that? But the factory set it as 33 foot-pounds, which is really hard to get. Most torque wrenches aren't very accurate at that level. Okay. When you're using a clicker type torque wrench, you want to be certain after you're done with it to set it back down to the lowest setting on the wrench, because it works off of a spring, and the way you set it is you actually screw the handle down, and that tightens the spring, tightens or loosens the spring. The tighter the spring, the more force is needed in order to overcome it. But because it's a spring, springs eventually wear out, and so that's why you should set it to the lowest setting when you're done with it. I even recommend, if you're not going to be using it for 30 minutes or so, to bring it down. In between the two heads, I set them back down. Torque wrenches are precision tools, and precision tools should be treated with a lot more care. They're not just a wrench. A wrench you can throw around and it won't hurt it a whole lot. I don't recommend doing that, because you take care of your tools and they tend to take care of you. But a torque wrench is is one of those things where it's absolutely imperative that you not just throw it around and you take care of it. There's parts inside it that don't need to be abused, so leaving them out in the rain is probably not a good idea either. I don't know that I've ever seen a torque wrench left laying around in the rain, but that's a possibility. So here's, kind of hard to see the scale on it, but yeah, it's not going to be real easy to see the scale. So anyway, never mind. But the way it works, let's see if I can Yeah, that'll work. The handle actually screws down, or unscrews. Right now I'm loosening it because I'm done with it. So I'm going to take it down to the lowest setting. And then on the handle is also a little locking ring. Each torque wrench is a little different. Some of them, it's a locking ring here in the middle. Some of them, I think, have a locking ring on the back. Some of them, and I kind of like these, is a spring-loaded clip, or kind of very similar to an air hose coupler. You just pull it back, and then you, as it's held back, you twist it. And I just engaged the lock. Or I took it all the way down. Yeah, that's what I did. I took it all the way down. And, but I kind of like that better. Just, they tend to lock in place better and unlock better. Less hiccups in them. Torque wrenches should be periodically recalibrated, which you would send them in to the manufacturer to have them recalibrated. But they probably don't go out that far, and then again I might be surprised. But it's better to use a torque wrench and it be slightly off than to not use one and just guess, because you'll be way off that way. Alright, so the next stage is going to be the degree wheel. Remember I told you that you bring it up to a certain torque measured in foot-pounds, and then you add 90 degrees to it. So I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. So here is a degree wheel. As you can see, maybe there's 360 360 degrees on it. I'm going to